part of Toledo lore, a teenage detective born in imagination of the Glass City journalist.
Yes, this is very cool. Millie Benson, who wrote the earliest of Nancy Drew mysteries in the 1930s and 40s, lived in Toledo. And now fans are celebrating everything Nancy Drew at the Toledo Lucas County Public Library.
Maya May has a preview of that.
So this week we're celebrating this amazing gift of a Nancy Drew collection given to us by Jennifer Fisher here at the library on Thursday and Friday.
Jennifer Fisher is an author, historian, and collector of Nancy Drew. She has spent over 20 years building her collection and has now donated over 4,000 items to the Toledo Main Library. She says Nancy Drew books have a connection with Toledo that runs deep.
Well, the original ghostwriter that was hired to write the Nancy Drew series, Mildred Ward Benson, lived here in Toledo for many decades, and she wrote some of the Nancy Drew books here in Toledo. So there's a great connection to Mildred as a Toledoan for decades.
In 2001, Fisher's love for Nancy Drew led her to meeting Mildred Benson. Benson was 90 years old and still working for the Toledo Blade newspaper. Since then, Jennifer Fisher has now been collecting Nancy Drew treasures for 22 years.
There's such a legacy to Nancy Drew, not only in her history and those that created and wrote the books, but there's also just that ideal of Nancy Drew as this role model who's kind of been empowering kids for years and making them aspire to do more in their lives. I mean, there's a lot of women and men who wrote these books over the years, all the way on up to the Supreme Court. Our ladies on the Supreme Court have cited Nancy Drew as an influence, which was pretty amazing.
With Fisher's help, the Toledo Library hopes to keep the Nancy Drew legacy alive.
I just hope overall and ultimately that it inspires that new generation of kids coming in and they see the books and they want to read them, which is a great way to get kids interested in reading. So for that aspect of it, it's definitely rewarding.
In Toledo, Maya May, WTOL 11.